So today I am going to make my very favorite dessert ever. It is my wife's very favorite dessert as well. So she's more than happy to actually record this for me today while I make this. So anyway, what I have here is I've got 6 tablespoons of butter, 7 ounces of chocolate, vanilla, brown sugar, espresso powder, a greased pan, and 4 eggs that have been separated. Here's the egg whites in here. So the chocolate I use is Ghirardelli. It's like the best chocolate in the entire world for doing something like this. I use the 70%. You can use 60% for a little less bite on the chocolate flavor, but I think this is just perfect. They make 100%, and it's a little too much. The 70% is, so I mean the 100%. So after making, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 of these, I think the first thing I'm going to do is make a flourless chocolate cake. So did I ever even tell you what this is? No, I didn't. Okay, so what I'm making is a triple chocolate mousse cake. So it's got a layer of flourless chocolate cake, chocolate mousse, and white chocolate mousse. So this is what I'm gonna layer. So this is why I needed the spring-form pan. I'm going to preheat the oven to 325 degrees. The first thing I need to do is melt the chocolate and the butter, and I'm also gonna put in some espresso powder. What I've done is made a double boiler. This will keep anything from burning or scorching on me while I melt it all. So I've got 7 ounces of chocolate. I've got 6 tablespoons of butter, and I'm also going to put the espresso powder in here. The espresso powder, it really kind of, when it comes to chocolate, it works like salt, and it brings out the flavor of the chocolate even more. Okay, so here's half a teaspoon, and I think I even have a 1/4 teaspoon here. I do. Just gently melt the chocolate, so like I said, so it won't scorch, it won't burn, it won't seize up on you. It's the best way to do it. I know people put it in microwave and things like that, but it can really get away from you doing things like that, and it'll seize up and harden. And so I'm going to continue to melt this until it's all melted, and I'm going to let it sit for about 5 minutes and cool down before I move on to my next step. Okay, so the chocolate's melted. While I'm waiting for it to cool down, I have 4 egg whites in here, and I'm going to start whisking them. I need to get them, as they say, a little bit frothy. I want to break them up just a little bit. Okay, so that's good. I've kind of broken them up so they're not all one big chunk, and I'm going to add half of this brown sugar. It's half of this 1/3 of a cup packed that I have here. And I'm going to continue to whisk it until it's mixed in. As you can see, it's gotten a lot more frothy in there. So I'm going to add the rest of the brown sugar, and I'm going to start whipping this again until we get soft peaks. Okay, that's what we're talking about. A nice soft peak. It's not real stiff, but it's going to hold its shape. So, all right, we got this done. We're going to set it aside and go back to the chocolate. We're going to go back to the chocolate. Now that the chocolate's cooled, about 5 minutes, we want to stir in the eggs and the vanilla extract. We didn't want to put these in when it was still hot because, well, it'll cook them. And it'll cook the eggs, which we don't want and the vanilla extract will lose all of its flavor if you put it into anything that's already hot. That's hot like that. Well, you put it in anything that you're still cooking. There, 1 teaspoon and a lot, and there's some more. Plenty of vanilla in there now. All right, so we're gonna stir that in. That was an impressive pour there, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, it was.
Now that we've got all of this stirred in here together, oh man, it's already starting to smell good. You can smell that dark chocolate, and now you can smell the vanilla. All right, so what we're gonna do now is with a whisk, we're going to start folding the egg whites into the batter. So if you notice, we didn't use any kind of leavening agent, anything that would make it rise. So this is what the egg whites are for, to give it a little bit of lift and some body. So I'm going to take half of them and put them in there. This way we can kind of get it started and get it folded in, because the chocolate's really thick. So you want to do this with, I know you usually do all of this with a spatula, but actually this works really well to get it started and get a lot of that egg white mixed into the chocolate. So then it'll make it easier when I do the rest of it. But you want to be as careful as you can to not deflate it. Alright, so I'm going to put the rest of the egg white mixture in here. And now I'm going to start folding it in with the spatula. This takes a few minutes until we see no more white. Yeah, no more white. Just when you think you have it done, you see this big, huge white streak in there. So you know you're not quite. It's starting to look pretty good now. Alright. I'm tired of folding, so that's gonna look good. Alright, so I have the springform pan. I cut out a piece of parchment paper, and then I buttered the whole thing to keep everything from sticking. And this goes into the pan. Smooth it all down into the pan, and it goes into the 325-degree oven now for about 15 minutes. It's gonna look like it's not quite finished. It's gonna look like it's not quite set in the middle. Still a little jiggly when you get done with it. We're gonna let it cool for an hour or so. Once it cools down, it'll be set. Hear the timer? It's been 15 minutes, so let's have a look. Oh yeah. See how it's still, I don't know if you can see that well enough, but it's still a little bit dark and wiggly compared to the sides.
Yep,
so
looks good.
So it's still, but it's all gonna set here pretty quick. It needs to sit here on this cooling rack for an hour, and it's going to sink back down and shrink up a little bit when it cools off. And then we can go on to the mousse, because this has got to be cool before we put any of the chocolate mousse on there. Okay, so it's been an hour, And here's the cake. We'll get my beer out of the way, but there's the cake. And you see it's shrunk down quite a bit, but you know, it still looks like a damn good chocolate cake, I think. So anyway, now we're on to the mousse part. So I have some cocoa powder, and I'm going to mix 2 tablespoons into some hot water. I actually boiled it in the microwave and let it cool off for a minute. We mix the cocoa powder until it's all dissolved, and we're going to let that sit for a minute. And we're going to come over here and we're going to melt some more chocolate. I have 7 more ounces of 70% bittersweet chocolate that I'm going to put back in my double boiler to melt. And you know, there's nothing like melted chocolate. The chocolate's all melted, so we're gonna once again set it over here to the side for a couple of minutes and let it cool off. To make some whipped cream. So after I was done with the egg whites, I put everything in the freezer because it works better if everything is frozen when you're whipping. Take cream, 1.5 cups of cold whipping cream, and it goes in here. A tablespoon of sugar. Everything always needs a little bit of salt in it. I think it makes the flavor come out a little bit and everything. So I'll add some kosher salt. Put a little pinch in there. Doesn't take much, especially with sweets. And now, okay, so we got the cream whipped. I got a little carried away. It's more of a stiff peak than a soft peak, but it's okay. I mean, I didn't over whip it. So I also had this cocoa powder in this water, and it's just going to give this chocolate just a little bit more of a kick of chocolate. So that goes in the chocolate. We're going to mix that in. Okay, so we've got the chocolate all mixed in. Oh man, that looks good.
Yes, it does.
And we're going to do the same thing we did with the egg whites. We're going to add a little bit, about 1/3 of the whipped cream. And since my counter's clean, I'm getting all of it.
On the camera, but that's fine.
And we're going to use a whisk to incorporate it in here. So again, we can loosen the chocolate up. All right. Now we're going to take this, and it goes on top of the cake. Spread this out even. Get all of the goodness off of here. Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Cool.
Wash your
Alright.
hand.
We want to tap this. Let me get this off this right. And tap this just a few times to get all the air bubbles out of it. Yeah, there was one. So we get any big air bubbles out. Oh, I guess that's enough since it just attacked me. Alright, and we're going to put this in the refrigerator and let it cool at least 30 minutes so it'll set, and then we're going to work on the top layer. So we're almost done here. We're going to do the last layer. Right here I have some unflavored gelatin. Now, and I have a tablespoon of water. So I'm going to take 3/4 of a teaspoon of gelatin, and sprinkle it into the water to let it dissolve, yes, in the water. And that should take somewhere around 5 minutes. So in the meantime, I'm going to heat up some cream so I can melt the white chocolate. So I've got half a cup of heavy cream, and we're going to nuke it until it gets hot. You kind of got to watch it, because if you don't, it'll boil over. So I have nuked the cream until it's really screaming hot. And okay, the gelatin is dissolved almost enough to get hard again. So let's take the gelatin, and it goes into the heavy cream. And we're going to dissolve it. I can't get it out of there. We're going to dissolve it now in the cream. And then the cream is hot enough that we have, man, I still didn't get all that out of there. Okay, here we go. We have 6 ounces of, gosh, sound like rich.
I know you did.
Okay, so I have this half cup of heavy cream, 6 ounces of white chocolate chips.
Ghirardelli.
Yes, Ghirardelli. And because I heated the cream, now the cream will melt the white chocolate, because it's not, I mean, you've heard the stories. Okay, it's not really chocolate, it's it's like cocoa butter is what it is. I think that's what they call it.
Is good.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it smells good.
Okay, so
Melted pretty quick.
yeah, it did. And okay, you have to have the gelatin. Do not skip the gelatin. If you skip the gelatin, this white chocolate will not set up. So you need the gelatin for it to actually set up. Alright, so I have that. So now we whip some more cream. I have refrozen my clean bowl, clean whisk. And I'm going to take a cup of heavy cream, And again, start whisking until I get soft peaks. We're going to start kind of slow. And then when it starts to get up, we'll move forward. So we'll be back when this gets to soft peaks. Alright, so we got this to soft peaks, unlike the other one, which was stiff peaks, but we got this one to soft peaks. So now we're going to do the same thing that we did the first two times. We're going to take a little bit of it, well, about a third of it, and we're going to put it into the chocolate, and we're going to mix it up with the whisk. I'm going to call that good. We're going to get nicely.
Oh, yes it did.
Alright, so then this goes on top of that. So we're going to smooth this out. And just like we did with the other one, we're going to bounce it off the counter a few times. Get any of the
air bubbles
out. And then you can smooth it just a little bit more, make it nice and pretty, you know.
It looks pretty good to me.
It does. Alright, so now we need to let this set about an hour before we can cut into it. It needs to set and everything needs to get cold. So we're going to let this set about an hour and then we're going to eat.
Yay! Good say. Ooh.
So look at that.
Perfect yum.
Okay, so let me get another slice and we'll have a taste here. All right. So, you get the really rich dark chocolate, and then you get the sweetness from the white chocolate on top, which kind of balances out the dark chocolate, and it's so light, and it's really not that heavy. And I'm just gonna keep eating now. So there you have it.
Yum.
Springform pan. So you're a smart ass, and I'm a smart ass. You're a dumb ass, and I'm a dumb ass. So just shut up and cook the damn food.